it is Hope at Crafty Hope, and I'm here with another art journal page. This one, I'll go ahead and say, was again part of the 100-day project. I'm really trying to work my way through getting these posted right now, so I think I'm going to post on my YouTube here a little more often so that I can get these shared with you. So I'm thinking maybe Monday, Wednesday, Fridays for right now. So let me know if that's too much or whatever. Anyway, today's project was to use some of the jelly prints that I have. If you don't know what a jelly print is, it's made on a gel plate. I think I've got a video or two how to use a gel plate, so I'll try to link those up in the top corner um, so that y'all can watch them. But I've got all these prints and I never seem to use them, so that was part of my inspiration for getting that in my 100-day project. Is I've got all of these beautiful painting papers that never get used, so I picked out a few. This one was on a piece of deli paper, which is kind of like wax paper but a tad thinner, and I glued it down with some Liquitex fluid medium. And once I got it down, I realized it was just a little bit brighter than the other papers I had, and it really was going to detract from them. So I added some gesso over the top of it, thinking that color would peek through, or maybe the material, and it kind of does. But then I added some homemade alcohol ink spray in a dark blue, and I just kind of sprayed that on there on that wet gesso and kind of let it go. Some of the texture from the jelly print behind it peeks through, some of it, I don't know. I was just playing. Like I said, I was really trying to figure out a way to use some of these jelly prints. So I had the idea to kind of make shapes with the jelly prints. So I took one piece there, you'll see I made a couple little well, like 3 little sticks, and then this other one I'm cutting out some I don't know, flower shapes. Let's just say flower shapes, because I knew I was going to make flowers. So I don't even know how to describe those shapes. But kind of tulipy almost, and I'm going to put some like scallops at the top of them to give them just a little more dimension, I guess is the best word for it. So here I'm adding the scallops to it. Um, and this I kind of knew was what I wanted to do. And y'all, this, I'll go ahead and tell you, this is not one of my favorite pages, but I'm including it because, well, I'm showing it to y'all because I do like that I was able to use these jelly prints, and I may play with this idea later. So I went back and took another little piece of, I think that's the same one I got the stems from, and made some little leaf shapes. So then I decided to ink all of the edges of the leaves and the stems and the flowers, and I'm using Distress Oxides. I believe this one looks like it's cracked pistachio. It could be Lucky Clover. I'm trying to see. Um, yeah, I think that's Lucky Clover. So it's a darker green, but not like super dark. And this stuff really doesn't add a whole lot to it. I knew that um, some of that color was peeking through on the background of that original jelly print, and so I was trying to add some kind of definition to these pieces I had cut out. So I'm going back in here. Those are on the flowers, and I think that's possibly peacock feathers. Again, this step doesn't really make a huge impact. This part does a little bit more. I just took this is one of my favorite Pilot pens. It's a V5. I can't tell you if it's water soluble or not, but it's my favorite pen. And so I just grabbed it out of my pen bucket, and I am going around the inside edges of all of these shapes. So, like I said, I was trying to give these some definition. And so this was what I did. And these are super sketchy lines. I'm doing 2 or 3 lines, kind of overlapping on each of these. And I really like how this ended up looking. This was one of my favorite things I did on this page to give this a little more definition. So then I decided that you see, I'm gonna lay these out and look at it again. Um, see, I'm laying it out and I'm like, okay, what does this need? I realize the background's still being kind of blah. So I'm gonna come in. I think the next thing I do is I grab my Marabou art crayons, and I'm just putting a little bit of blue down at the top. I'm trying to make it a sky and grass thing. So a little blue at the top because that purple just wasn't completely working that was in the background. And then I'll put a little green at the bottom. And I'm just using a damp paintbrush to activate, I guess, the crayons. So I'm gonna try to use a lighter blue in there on top of that dark blue at the top, but it doesn't really do anything. You can't see it, so I scratch that. So since that was all wet, I go ahead and dry it, and then I'm coming in with some of my hand carved stamps. Now the first one is a cloud one. I love this stamp really, and I'm using Broken China Distress Oxide, and I realized that wasn't showing up, so I'm coming back in with Blueprint Sketch, I think what it's called. It's a really dark, it's kind of a gorgeous blue. All blues are gorgeous though. That's just me. And then I've got, what is that, crushed pistachio? Cracked pistachio, um, Distress Oxide, and this is just kind of a triangle shaped stamp that I'm going in and kind of giving grass blades there at the bottom. So, and then the Distress Oxide for some reasons always stay a little damp for a while. So I turned that page over and just kind of sopped it up. And I don't think I'm going to do anything with on that left page. I kind of like that little bit of, I don't know, just texture over there on that side. So I'm leaving it be for now. And then I'm just taking my Oohoo glue stick and gluing all of these down. Now these papers were a variety of different papers, mostly like scrapbook paper, but like thinner scrapbook paper. But I think, I'm trying to think, I think that's what the flowers part came off of. The stems themselves may have been a heavier paper, like a cardstock. But it did matter. It's all paper. I'm just gluing it down on straight into my page and arranging it the way that I think it. And like I said, it's cute. I really like it. If I had thought about it a little bit more or planned it out, but I was really trying to just use some of the jelly prints that I didn't know what to do with otherwise. I knew that they wouldn't make good like background paper, and they weren't pretty enough on their own for something like a card. So they're getting used in this way, and it really did work. So I'm looking at this again, and again, these just are not defined enough. So I decided to take my Stabilo All Pencil in black. Of course, got to reglue a couple things, and just go around all of the flowers, the stems, the leaves, and outline them. Give them a bit of shadow, give them that definition that they so desperately need. And then, as is my jam, I'm going to get a wet paintbrush here in a second and just go around that. Y'all, I have sped up this whole video 3 times. Normally, I just do 2 times, but so much of this page was repetitious, cutting out shapes and stamping and doing this part, the stabilo and the tracing and all that. So I'm sorry if this is a little fast. If there's any more details about it or things that you need to know, just let me know. Ask me in the comments. Let me know if you don't like this at all, but don't be trolly about it. So I wanted to give the flowers themselves a little more. I mean, I keep saying definition, but yeah, I wanted them to definitely look like flowers. So I'm using a white Sharpie paint pen. It's the water soluble one or the water based one, and I just added a couple little lines inside it to give it everything. And I'm going to go back over that in a minute to make that white stand out just a bit more. But since I did add that white, I pulled out these stickers. I believe they are Tim Holtz ones. I don't even know what they're called. I'll try to put a link to them below, but I know I found them at Tuesday Morning, so they may be like discontinued. So I don't know if I can find them on Amazon or not to link to them. And I just did sketching lines to frame up the page and finish it up. And frame it up and give it that same sketchiness that each of the flowers have. And then I'm going to go over these lines again one more time to darken. Well, I don't know what you would call it when it's white. It's not really darkening it up. It's highlighting it. I don't know. All right, guys, give me a thumbs up if you like this. Let me know if you have any questions, and make sure to hit that subscribe button. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Bye.